All right, the mind is fast, but the body is slow. What does that really mean? Well, this is one of the most important concepts that I want to share with you, which is the mind is fast. That means that you could understand concepts that you hear in a podcast, you read in a book, things of that nature. But the body is slow, which means it takes time for you to integrate and to embody these new concepts. And maybe the easiest example I could give is being grateful, right? I think that anytime someone learns about gratitude, at least for me, when I first learned about gratitude, I thought, okay, hey, the secret to living a life of joy, purpose, and abundance is to be grateful for the different things that you have. And so I understood this concept really, really quickly. It was very easy for me to start a gratitude journal, to start acting grateful whenever something neutral would happen. But when something bad would happen, then it would be hard for me to be grateful. Someone would need to remind me about being grateful and having gratitude. And then the next thing that would happen would be then I would be upset with myself. I would say, hey, I read in this book about gratitude. I knew I should be grateful, but when something negative happened to me, instead of being grateful, I became resentful. I became vindictive. I became judgmental, things of that nature. And I know that at least for me, like I felt bad for not being grateful. Then I felt bad for knowing that I should have been grateful. So it was kind of like a dual purpose thing that was happening and going on with me. So I think that for many people, when you read a lot of books, when you listen to a lot of podcasts, maybe you hire a bunch of coaches and they teach you all these different mental models, they teach you these different frameworks for life. You feel like, yes, now that I've learned these things, I should be winning. I shouldn't have like such a difficult and challenging experience on this planet because I know these secrets to happiness. I know these secrets to personal development and self-improvement. And now that I know these things, I should be a happier, more grateful person that feels more abundance in their life. And so I think that is a natural thing to feel is like, yeah, like learning. We go to school to learn. We learn English, we learn mathematics, we learn science. And after we learn these things, we take a test and we feel like we know these things. But that is the furthest thing from the truth. There is this concept called the map and the territory. And understanding the map is not the same as understanding the territory. So the concept about the map and the territory goes that, yeah, if you look on a map, you'll see India, America, Australia, Antarctica, and you could see on the map like, yeah, Antarctica, it's all white, it's cold, right? So you're like, okay, I know that Antarctica is cold, but if you know anyone that's actually been to Antarctica, they will tell you it's not only cold, it is painfully cold, like you need many layers of thermal, huge jackets, things of that nature. If you're out too long in the cold, you could have hypothermia, things of that nature. And so once you get to the territory, you understand that the territory is much different than just understanding the map. And that's the difference between intellectually understanding something and having full embodiment of that concept. Maybe another example that I could give is I love watching cooking shows with my wife. So we watch cooking shows. I watch them prep the food. I watch them talk about all the different textures and which flavors will go with each other. I see how they're utilizing different instruments so that they could get the right, crispiness or the right wellness of the beef and all these different things, right? So conceptually, I have this good understanding of how food works, but my wife cooks and I don't cook. So I understand the map of cooking and she understands the territory of cooking. So, when it comes to cooking, if there is someone else there, someone that has knife skills, someone that has pan skills, someone that has some actual cooking experience, I can help them, give them some of my feedback and some of my advice of what I think may taste better or different ways that we can make this dish be a little bit more engaging and enticing. But when it comes to prepping the food, when it comes to frying or grilling or sauteing the food, I don't have the ability to do that. So I'm kind of just like a armchair quarterback. And maybe another great example is like the way that I approach jujitsu. When I first started jujitsu, I really loved the sport and I wanted to do everything and anything I could do to become better at the sport. So I was also running my own company at the time. I had a new family, so it was challenging to run a company, have kids, and then try to keep up in jiu-jitsu with all the other people that I was training with. And so what I ended up doing was I watched a bunch of YouTube videos where they would teach me not just the different moves, but they would talk about all the different concepts of jiu-jitsu. So how to intimidate opponents or how to use psychology, I would learn about strength and conditioning, and I would see all these different techniques that people would be doing. So as I was watching these videos, I accumulated a lot of mental knowledge about jujitsu. Like if people were playing rock, paper, scissors, I would be able to almost like predict what the person was going to choose, whether it was a rock, paper, or scissors. And jujitsu is kind of like playing rock, paper, scissors over and over and over again until you tap someone out. So in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, I must be getting really great at this sport. And by getting great at this sport, I'll be able to show up at the gym and become a much more effective jujitsu practitioner. And I guess what I found out is that watching jujitsu and doing jujitsu are two totally different things. I could learn a guillotine choke or a triangle choke or a rear naked choke, and I could watch the techniques on YouTube, and I could mentally do them in my mind. And maybe I even practice on one of my friends or my wife or my daughter at home just to get a good feel for the move. But the truth is, unless you go to a jiu-jitsu school and you practice this move on skinny people, on muscular people, on tall people, on short people, you kind of only know how to somewhat do the move. You don't really know how to do the move really well, because you could do it on a specific body type or when someone's not giving you a lot of resistance. But when it comes to actually doing it to someone in competition, good luck. Good luck if you don't train with other people. So this is why it's so important to understand that the mind is fast and the body is slow, because when it comes to self-improvement, when it comes to expansion of consciousness, when it comes to awakening spiritually, I think a lot of people are just like me. You want to be the best business person. You want to be the best father. You want to be the most spiritual person. You want to optimize all of your time on this life. So you become a goal-oriented person instead of a process-oriented person. And when you are a goal-oriented person, well, it's like we talked about in the last video. You become an outside-in person versus an inside-out person. And if you haven't seen that video, go back and watch that video about the inside-out versus outside-in, because this is also another really important framework if you want to live a life of joy, purpose, and abundance, is to understand that nothing from the outside will ever change the way that you feel on the inside. So that's why it's so freaking important to understand these concepts, because if you start learning these concepts and you fill your mind up with all these different mental models and frameworks on how to live a good life, but you're not actually practicing them, practicing gratitude, cultivating the inner work, doing shadow work, releasing childhood trauma, things of that nature, and you just read about these things because you listen to these different podcasts, well, I would say that that's even more dangerous than not knowing anything. Because you feel like you understand these things, you could probably talk about these things with people in discourse, and maybe you could fool some people into them believing that you have all these skills. But when it comes to your own life, you could ask yourself, am I actually happier? Do I feel more free? Do I feel more present? Or do I just understand these concepts and I could regurgitate them to people? I know that's where I used to be. I'm really good at listening to something and then regurgitating it. And because people can understand the lesson that I just learned, that was the trap that I felt in, was accumulating all this knowledge, and believing I had wisdom. And for me, I really believe that knowledge is almost useless, or knowledge could actually be counterproductive. I feel like knowledge with experience, then that becomes true wisdom. And this is why it's so important to understand that just because you learn things, it doesn't mean your life is going to change. Just because you drink ayahuasca doesn't mean your life is going to change. Just because you hire a transformation coach, your life is not going to change. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take consistently showing up every single day to show that you are dedicated to all these different things that you talk about, that you want to change. And it's not about just reading more books, listening to more podcasts, and feeling good about yourself. It's that you have to show up and do the work every day. Just like if you want to be really fit, you have to show up and work out every day. You can't just change your diet or listen to health podcasts. You actually have to do all the work and show up consistently for yourself. And this is why I think it's so important to make videos like this, because I think that we live in a world where everyone is a guru, everyone is a coach, everyone is a teacher, and especially if they have something to sell, then they're going to try to make sure their course and all of that is the easiest one for you to understand, that is going to be the easiest one for you to make progress, and that you're going to be guaranteed results in like 15, 30, 60 days, something really quick like that. So to me, it's important to let people understand how transformation really happens. It's not a overnight transformation. Maybe you could have a epiphany or some sort of insight that makes you feel like, oh, wow, I truly understand this topic now. But when it comes to actual tangible change in your real life, well, that takes a lot of time. And I think maybe one of the things that I could share is how your neural pathways work. So we have different neural pathways. The neural pathways are made up of cell bodies, dendrites, and axons. And every time you think a repeated thought, that neural pathway gets thicker and thicker and thicker. So for example, like every time you get cut off while you're driving, that neural pathway of being triggered is well traveled, because every time you get cut off, you get angry, you start yelling. And when you start doing that and that neural pathway gets thicker, since we are bioelectrical beings, it's much easier to respond in that triggered way than having some grace for when someone cuts you off, all right? So this is why, just because you know, like, you shouldn't be mad when you get triggered by someone cutting you off and you still get mad, well, it's because that neural pathway is much more developed than the pathway to be grateful, or the pathway to be patient, or the pathway to not really give a shit that someone cut you off. And that needs to be cultivated. So every single time that you get cut off and you don't explode, you cultivate that new neural pathway of handling it with grace, and you start making the other neural pathway that gets triggered have a little atrophy. And so this takes many, many instances of practice in order to execute something like this, because as I said, we are bioelectrical beings, and if the electricity is used to going down the negative neural pathway that doesn't serve you, well, that's just what it's going to be like until you have more willpower, more self-awareness, more mindfulness to understand, okay, I got triggered. I could take some time to figure out what my next step is, as opposed to getting super duper angry. And then after 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, 30 times of having that experience and having the self-awareness to give yourself space, then you start conditioning the neural pathway that serves you while trimming back the neural pathway that doesn't serve you. And that's how life works. Slow, incremental improvement. Knowledge plus experience equals wisdom. And if you do this slowly and surely every day, you consistently show up for yourself, you try to improve 1% every day, then you will absolutely be able to transform your life. And when you transform your life, it doesn't mean that everything is always going to work out, but it means that every time you face another new challenge, you're going to see this as truly an opportunity for you to grow, as an opportunity for your consciousness to expand, as another opportunity for you to really bring the truest version of yourself to the world, so that you could share it with the world and show the world that being yourself is one of the best things that you could actually do. All right, so I want to know, did this resonate with you? Did you understand this concept of the body being slow but the mind being fast? And I'm curious, how will you implement this into your life? Will you give yourself a little bit more forgiveness? Will you give yourself a little bit more space? I want to know. Drop it in the comments below. Share this with a friend that needs to hear it. And let's keep improving our life just 1% at a time. All right, everyone? You guys have a lovely day.